RMON actually is a complete chapter in your book of money, but we will just prepare it from the viewpoint of a short note and some important points where it is used. Okay, so the functions of RMONs need to be clear. Yesterday I had told you that you had done Wireshark. Okay, so that Wireshark is an example of remote monitoring. You are passively sniffing. This is a sniffing tool. So you are passively sniffing into the network, extracting the data and trying to interpret what the data. So in live packet tracing, you can do it. So that is one example of a RMON. Okay, so we were seeing this architecture. So we have a dispatcher in the engine. We have dispatcher, message processing subsystem, security subsystem, and access control. So this part we had finished. So I'll just read through it once. So there is one dispatcher in an SNMP engine. It allows for concurrent support of multiple versions of the SNMP message. Then we have the message processing subsystem. So it is responsible for preparing the message for sending and extracting data from the received message. The message processing subsystem can contain multiple message processing models. For example, since we have the 3 versions, so one message processing system for version 1, one for version 2, and another one for version 3. Then the security subsystem, it will take care of the security aspects like authentication, privacy, and there might be multiple security models. Then the access control, from the name, who it provides the authorization, like who can access the system. Okay, so there might be one or more access control models. Now coming to the application. So this application part will actually decide whether the entity is a manager or the entity is an agent. Okay, so the applications include command generator, command responder, notification receiver, notification originator. Then we have proxy forwarder system. So basically these 5 are there, and others are there in case if you want to add more applications in future. So that's why these others are present over here. So the command responder is who provides the access to the management data. Then the notification, see, it's just one line. Okay, so that's what I was telling. It's one line about every block. The notification originator, which initiates the asynchronous message. Means this is the work like a trap. Notification receiver, the manager receives the notification messages and it processes the asynchronous messages. And then the proxy forwarder, which forwards message between the entities. So these are the, in very short, one functions of each block. I have one more functions. This you should be remembering. So currently there are 5 SNMP version 3 applications. So the command generator, what the command generator will do is, it will create the SNMP message. Then the command responder, it will respond to the SNMP. So whatever message is created, it goes, the command responder will respond to that SNMP message. Now, one task I will give you, here in version 3, we are not talking of exactly those messages. जैसे version 1 में हमने 5 message देखा, version 2 में हमने 7 messages देखा. Here also messages are exchanged, but nowhere we are till now, as I have said, this is the last lecture and I have not omitted anything. So how many actually messages are there in SNMP version 3? Okay, Googling will not actually help. Okay, they might give you a wrong figure. So I am giving you one task. It's there in only one sentence in your money का soft copy तुम लोगों के पास है. Try to find out how many messages does SNMP version 3 have, because we are sending a message, we are, that is the agent is, manager is asking the request, agent is replying. Okay, so the messages are exchanged, but वो messages क्या है? कुछ अलग तो नहीं होगा. It will be get, set, trap, okay, get response, bulk response, okay. So what are those messages? So whether it is 5 or 7 के बीच में था, 7 से ज़्यादा था. Okay, so find out that task. How many messages are there in SNMP version 3? I hope you will remember that. Then comes the notification originator. So it sends trap message or inform message. Then the notification receiver, it receives and processes trap or inform message. Can anybody tell me what is inform message? Trap message, I hope you know by now that it is sent by the agent to the manager. What is inform message? Who uses the inform message? Please don't remain silent. Yes? Inform message, who uses? मैं तुम लोग को टर्म वर्क बिल्कुल ही नहीं दूंगी. 10 तो ठीक है, यहाँ से मिल रहा है तुम लोगों को, बाकी 15 है अभी भी. Just by staying online means attendance hai. Attendance comes when you are participating in the class. Where I am using the inform message. See, till last year, students used to write, do everything. You people are not doing that. That is the problem. तुम्हारे पास नोटबुक ही नहीं है. अभी एक मोबाइल है, उसमें से तुम लोग ये स्क्रीन देखोगे या फिर गूगल करके आंसर निकालोगे. Where I am using the inform message, please. Can anybody tell? He or she will process that data and might generate the defaulter list and give it to the HOD for analysis. So that is what the RMON is doing. It is collecting the raw data, okay, making some defaulter list or 100% attendance if some award is to be given. Okay, so then that data goes to the network manager. So it helps the network manager manage their network and fine-tune the network performance. See, when we give the awards for the pass-out BE students, we do take care of the attendance part. We give best outgoing student, academic, overall best outgoing students. Okay, so many 5 criteria are there. So how do I select that? One person has very high pointers, but hardly that person was there in the class. He will not get. भले वो award best academic performance के लिए है, but that person was not there in the class for whatsoever reason. The reason might be known to the teachers, but whenever there is performance monitoring, this analysis of the data is very, very important. So for your sake, for your marks to come also, your attendance is one of the important factors. Otherwise, we know that you will copy and present it, submit the file. Person hai hi nahi, but file फिर भी submitted hai. Somewhere or the other, your marks will be affected. Okay. So analysis of the data is important. So what we do is we try to lessen the burden of the manager. So let the normal operation go on. I will passively extract the data. I will analyze it, make a meaningful picture from that data, and then I will pass on to the manager. The manager will look at that processed data and then he can take some decision to improve the performance of the network. Okay. So this was about, I'm not reading since I want to finish it. So RMON ka MIB extension ho raha hai and all that. Okay. So it is present in RFC so and so. And there are 2 versions of RMON, version 1 and version 2. So we call it as RMON version 2. So RMON 2 aisa likhte hain. Okay. So RMON stands for remote monitoring. So now let us consider the actual explanation of RMON. So what are the components of an RMON? So RMON has 2 major elements. I require a network management station. Without network management station, this RMON will not work. अकेले वो कुछ नहीं कर सकता. It will just extract the data. वो data फिर जाएगा किसको? Okay, so there is an RMON probe and there has to be an NMS. What is RMON probe? This is a new term that is introduced. So an RMON probe is a network device that collects information according to the traffic that passes through it. It providing information about the health of the network rather than a particular device. So the RMON will not collect information about a particular component of the network. It will gather the information about the whole network. Okay, so unlike SNMP implementation, an RMON probe will collect and store this information, and it passes this information to the NMS whenever requested. Okay, so RMON probe along with NMS is actually helping us in the management of the entire network. Using RMON, it helps to avoid some of the network traffic issues associated with regular SNMP management. A typical RMON enabled network will have one configured probe per segment. Now I'll just show you what is the RMON doing in next diagram. Okay, so what SNMP message goes across a network between a manager and an agent. So this is what we know already. Now what extra we do is a tool is available in SNMP that sniffs or dog sniffs. Remember, wo information ke liye the dog is sniffing. So similarly, that probe that tool is sniffing every packet that goes across the LAN. It opens it and analyzes it. See, it is working in the passive mode. Passive mode means that tool is not able to add anything to the data. It is not a hacker. He is just sniffing that packet. वो packet को passively निकाल रहा है and analyze that packet, and it creates that data. So it is a passive operation, nothing to do with the packet, and it continues on their destination. So neither it is blocking, nothing. Okay, so from that stream, it is just taking that packet, analyzing it, and storing it in the memory. So this approach is called monitoring the network or probing the device, and probing, and the device that does this function is called the network monitor or the probe. Okay, class monitor will tell you, please don't talk, keep quiet and all that. But this person will not do anything. He will not pass on any message. He will just collect it and he will forward it to the NMS. So what is actually the probe, the components of the probe? So they are the physical object that is connected to the transmission media. It processes, and there is a processor inside that probe which analyzes the data. Okay, so if the processor and the probe both are in the same plane, so we call it as the local. Now here is one diagram that is there. यहाँ पे देखो मेरा RMON probe इधर है. Okay, and the LAN is over here, and here is my backbone network. Okay, so this LAN is connected to this backbone network through a router. So यहाँ पे वो RMON probe है. Okay, so the LAN is actually sending data through the backbone network with the router. So बीच में हमने ये probe डाला है. So what this probe will do is he will collect that data and he will process that data. How he will process the data? The data is processed over here. So they are not actually in the same geographical location because देखो ये एक end पे है, ये दूसरे end पे है. So not necessarily the probe, the physical device and the processor, they are at the same part of the network. Okay, so if they are in the same part, it is called as local. So here I am actually using the data is transmitted to a remote network management station. Okay, so that's why the name is coming remote monitoring network. So this probe right now, it is referred to as remote monitoring. Now comes the actual diagram with which you can explain this RMON. So यहाँ पे I have the FDDI network. FDDI is fiber data distribution backbone network. Here you can see various networks are there. यहाँ पे remote LAN है, remote token ring LAN है, यहाँ पे एक Ethernet LAN है. Everybody does not have one NMS. Here you can see the NMS is connected at the Ethernet. Okay, so what I am doing is the probe, FDDI probe, is collecting the data from the backbone network, and through this bridge, he will pass on to this Ethernet network where the NMS is there. Okay, so this probe is extracting the data and he is passing it to the NMS. The NMS is located over here. He will not pass it to the other because it has no meaning otherwise. So he is passing on the data to the NMS. The NMS here right now it is in the Ethernet. Then the NMS might take some decision. So similarly, here also I have the token ring probe. So now this token ring probe will extract the data. See, all these are the physical device. Now you might feel यहाँ पे तो कोई physical device नहीं है, so whether I am not monitoring this, यहाँ पे भी एक probe है, यहाँ पे भी एक probe है, they are extracting the data and giving it to the NMS for further whatever the action wants to take. So यहाँ पे जो router है, which is connected with RMON, this router itself will act as a probe. Okay, so I don't have a separate probe over here like I had for this network and I had for this network, but here the router will be such that it will act in between as a probe, and then he will send the data to the NMS, okay, which is present in some different network. So this is how your RMON is working. So this is the diagram from the book of money. So you will be explaining this with this particular diagram. So all these functions are there. So what the RMON is doing, it tracks number of packets, the packet size, the broadcast, network utilization, errors and conditions, if there is a collision. Okay, so all this data they will find out. So the last slide for the function. So what is the RMON doing? It monitors and analyzes locally and then relays the data, hence less load on the network. Okay, मुझे फिर performance analysis के लिए अलग से कुछ नहीं करना है. Needs no direct visibility by the NMS. NMS is not bothered कि वो probe क्या कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है. वो अपने आप चुपचाप data ले रहा है और भेज दे रहा है NMS को. More reliable information is provided. Permits monitoring on a more frequent basis. Okay, यहाँ पे हम लोग ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं because what, see, the probe is not doing any other function. It is just doing the monitoring and creating the meaningful data, and hence faster fault diagnosis. It increases the productivity, allows continuous monitoring of the performance parameter. Okay, so the RMON compliant console can collect MIP data and analyze them locally without sending all of the data to NMS. It provides expert advice to speed up the troubleshooting. See, it is probing. You can see कि यार ये ऐसा हो रहा है. Okay, so they can provide advice ki, I think this when it is coming from that particular network, there is a delay, there is a packet loss if the packets are routed through that network. So they can give some advice to solve our particular problem. So that helps in fault management, or if I want to plan my future network. So this is the every points I have highlighted. It's a keyword which you are actually supposed to write, but right now you are not writing. Okay, so the keywords are highlighted. Please read those properly during the exam. So there are two versions, RMON version 1, RMON version 2. So there RMON version 1 and 2 is working. This is my physical OSI layer. So RMON 1 is implemented at the first two lower layers, and RMON 2 is implemented at the higher layers. Okay, so no need to prepare much. Okay, so RMON 1, only 2 slides, second last slide. RMON 1 is oriented towards monitoring Ethernet and token ring LAN, and as shown in the diagram, the previous diagram, RMON 1 are concerned with monitoring the bottom 2 layers, that is the physical and data link layer of the original OSI reference model. Now, if I talk about the database, since along with SNMP, I have added RMON. Okay, so it is adding 9 additional messages. Similarly, your RMON 2 emphasizes on the IP traffic and the upper layers till the application layer. Okay, so RMON 2 allows network management applications to monitor packets on all the network layer. So RMON 2 is an extension of RMON 1, so which is concentrating on the upper 5 layers. So as such, a short note on RMON. Okay, so this is the main diagram with which you will be explaining. And for objective type question, this part is important. So with this, we finish the third chapter